Welcome everybody to the Soul Path Wisdom Community. This is our Friday class. We're going to talk today about Uranus in Taurus. This is a retrograde review. We have talked about this in the past here and there, and now as of this evening, we are coming into the retrograde in Taurus. Here's our chart for the day, November 7th, 9:21 p.m. is the time set for the East Coast, and you can see that at that point, Uranus will be at 29 degrees and 59 minutes. And, the bottom line is it came into the sign of Taurus, May 15th, 2018. You might remember back then, I mean, that was when Saturn came into Capricorn. We didn't know the pandemic was coming yet. Uh, Saturn went into Capricorn, Pluto was already there. By 2020, Jupiter went into Capricorn, and Uranus in Taurus has been making its way through the sign for the approximate 7 years that it is normally, in one sign. In the beginning, it went back and forth a little bit between Aries and Taurus, and now it just moved into Gemini a few months ago, and it's a little back and forth there also that seems to extend the time. But overall, it's a 7 year cycle. And you can see that it is in a trine with Pluto. It's out of sign at this point in time, but for the last few months, it's been in sign in Gemini. So as it moved into Gemini, we've been getting a little bit more wake up, which is a big Uranus word, a wake up about information, intelligence, different opposing views, learning, data. And of course, Uranus rules technology. We're going to talk more about what it rules, just remind everybody about it. And Pluto is in Aquarius, the sign that relates to Uranus. So, this whole thing about the effect of technology on our information, our systems, our mind, our data, the way that we think about things, the way that we are, kind of manipulated into thinking about things. All of this is up for us as Uranus goes into Gemini. But, just like right now we have uh, Neptune and Saturn retrograde back into Pluto, into Pisces, so that we get a review of the Pisces energy we've been working with for years. We have now this opportunity to double check and triple check what we've been learning while Uranus has been in Taurus since 2018, and to make sure we have integrated the lessons as best as possible. So here's the chart for today. We have the moon in the curious, interested, learning data sign of Gemini. And, of course, we know where the nodes are. And I think, all of you know the fact that, this triangular formation with the trine between Uranus and Pluto, and both of them in sextile to Neptune, Saturn, this really does represent the possibility of major transformation, awakening, and restructuring of new systems in our world. And right now, we are working with the shadow energy of all of these planets. And so we're getting to see the lies, the manipulations, the fear, the things that are not true. So we're seeking truth. So here we have some key words about the planet Uranus, and there's a lot of them. And I've got them in, some level of rough order from evolved through average through the more difficult aspects. And at the highest level, Uranus is the instrument of awakening, liberation, and freedom. These are spiritual concepts. This is what we think of in the ways of Zen, Buddhist philosophy, where we awaken to truth, where we awaken to uh, the realization that so much of life is an illusion. And I've made the word authenticity golden and bold because I feel like that's the place that most of us can set our sights toward when we're thinking about Uranus in our own life. And in this class today, we're going to be talking about Uranus in sort of a global way and what it represents, but more we're going to talk about where Uranus is in your natal chart, where it is by transit going back and forth between Gemini and Taurus, and what what integrations you might want to do to bring that Taurus energy into its best possible alignment for you. So there are a number of things that Uranus relates to or rules is in charge of that are, pretty good stuff, channeling, astrology, uh, the ability to be detached and think rationally, uh, to be in your high mind. It's the higher octave of Mercury. Technology and inventions, progress, social justice, humanitarianism, these are all positive Uranian uh, purposes. Uh, Radical change can relate to rejection or abandonment, shock and disruption. That gets to be a little bit harder. Rebellion and revolution and evolution, these big, big changes. And, there's a certain level where Uranus is so detached and so rational, uh, there's a coldness to it. There is a potential for dissociation at a harmful, toxic level, authoritarianism, dictatorship, a certain level of cruelty can be Uranian and also can come from a dissociated Mars. So, we want to set our sights on the highest levels, but know that there is this lightning aspect. There are shocks and sudden changes that happen when this planet is, about to do anything. And then thinking about it in the sign of Taurus, which the words start with safe and secure and solid and steady and patient and grounded, earthy. Think of the Taurus people South Node in Taurus or Sun in Taurus. There's a contentment, a comfort. I think the bear is a beautiful animal to represent Taurus. Loyal, sensual, maybe pleasure seeking, maybe greedy or insecure, fixed and stubborn, lazy, stuck, slothful. Those are the more shadowy Taurus words. The person who, has trouble getting going can be with Taurus. And so on these core qualities that Uranus in Taurus has been waking us up to in our personal lives and very much in our world life is issues of the earth, like climate change and the health of literally the planet, body, all of our personal bodies, the bodies of animals, the body of the planet, the physicality, money. So this is part of the security. This is like second house relationship of Taurus and money and resources. And one of the main resources that we can consider is food. And so Uranus in Taurus affects all of us to be looking at how we have to wake up to the way we live on the earth. And if we have security, comfort, food, steadiness, and what it takes to build that. What does it take to build a secure, easeful, comfortable life for everybody? Because Uranus, as a planet, seeks to create something that is fair and equitable and humanitarian. And and so how we can have change that is needed to create this is a big part of what Uranus and Taurus was bringing to us. And, to me, it's kind of interesting that at this point in time, just as it's going, back into Taurus for this final little review for a few months. It's going to stay, I think it's 24th, 27th of April, where it goes back into Gemini. So we have like over the winter to think about, how we can have a summation of what we've been thinking about and learning for these 7 years. On the individual level, uh, the karmic perspective of the planet Uranus and like why do you have it in the sign it's in? Why do you have it in the house it's in? So your Uranian karma can stem from unfulfilled awakened awareness or authentic expression. Okay. Uh, every planet has the possibility when you're looking at it in your natal chart that it was either unfulfilled or you didn't activate it or it was overactive in a negative way. So with Uranus, unconscious acceptance of social norms could have blocked the questioning of cultural standards. If you think about Aquarius as a sign that follows Capricorn, with Capricorn, we tend to be more traditional and conservative, and we're building something that will last and manage the test of time. Whereas Aquarius and Uranus breaks out of that and realizes there's something that's stifling with Capricorn energy. So we find with Uranus, we have a need to rebel and kind of find oneself, be authentic, that arises from past life conformity. And alternatively, the rebellious extremism could have been excessive. So I call it, being a rebel without a cause, just rebelling against everything all the time, no matter what, not necessarily knowing the details or having accurate information. So we're finding in this life, wherever Uranus is, you can think about what would this have looked like if it was overactive and too much, and what would this mean if I didn't activate it and I didn't do what I needed to do at all? So the current life medicine for your natal Uranus is to question accepted norms with an open mind, explore different perspectives and embrace change, cultivate your authenticity in thought, word, and action, express individuality and personally, creatively, all the ways you could just be truly individual. Uh, and then as you grow and evolve, you move beyond yourself. Like it's not supposed to be selfish. Remember, again, thinking about the sign that Uranus is in charge of, Aquarius. The opposite to it is Leo. And Leo is very personal. Leo is, hey, it's all about me. And so as we evolve with Uranus, we become more humanitarian. We become more connected to the collective and the needs of all, and caring more about making sure that everybody's taken care of. And as we do that, we contribute to the collective and we contribute to the transformation of the whole, not just individually. And one other piece I'll add about Uranus individually, because it's certainly been a key factor in my life, and some of you who I know have Uranus in Cancer conjunct the South Node as I do. The meaning of it about rejection, right? About being rejected or disowned or feeling separate, feeling like you don't fit, feeling like you're always an outsider. This can be very strong when the planet Uranus is strong like that, where it's connected to the South Node or the home and family energy or an angle. And one of the things that I've found very useful personally has been to accept the reality of being an outsider in a positive way, and instead of feeling rejected. because as a child, one feels rejected and weird and strange with a strong Uranus position. And as we grow and evolve, to understand the benefit and the value of being different than the family and culture that you're born into, and not take it personally that you are, um, rejected or you have to leave as the nature of uh, the Uranus position. So it's kind of taking your power about this, the power to fully accept that you are unique and different from people around you, and at the same time, you're still part of a collective. And on some level, we're all different. That's where we get into the healing, and that's where we can start to truly make changes that support the world. We can look at ourselves or look at other people to understand the levels of development of this planet. So at its evolved level, again, it's like, to be really truly awakened spiritually, to be liberated from life's illusions, to be free. And that sometimes just happens. People have kind of a moment of awakening, but most often it happens as the result of many years of spiritual practice that take one to the point of, getting into an enlightened state for periods of minutes or hours, and longer thresholds of time. Um, I'm thinking the Adyashanti's book, The End of Your World, is really one of the best books I can think of if you want to explore what awakening at this level actually looks like. The average level of Uranian development is just to be authentic, to be real, to be innovative and creative and inventive and changeable, and let it be okay to be unique and different, and just live your own life. Um, I remember Stephen Forrest talking about people who have strong Uranus, that the thing that they need to do is, if they're going to get married, they've got to have like a weird wedding in the forest where, and the traditional church wedding with all the fixings and the bells and whistles would not be appropriate. So, if you have strong Uranus, like, let yourself be different, and that will be a source of satisfaction. And if you're not letting your Uranus evolve and be healthily expressed, then you're likely to fall into the shadow, and there you will be, that rebel without a cause, an extreme and erratic, unreliable, dissociated, exiled permanently. So you find your place and know what it is you're working for with Uranus, and then remember, wherever it's transiting, whatever sign, whatever its house is, that's where the work is going on. But it extends back to your natal Uranus and helps it continue to evolve, related to the sign and house that it's in natally. Here, of course, is the definition of the houses. I think most of you know this, but it's here just in case someone is watching this recording and doesn't know the meaning of the different houses. And what we're going to look at today is, what is your wish for awakening? What is your wish for freedom? When you think of Uranus in your natal chart, what comes up for you? And I thought it would be kind of fun to work with the people who are here in class today. Since it only changes every 7 years, there's probably just, three, maybe four different Uranus placements that we have between us. So I thought we would go through them one by one, and and just see, who has those placements, and then what that means in terms of Uranus right now in the sky, Gemini, Taurus, and what you might be thinking about for yourself. And that, of course, brings us to the end of the class. I'm mentioning here a couple of upcoming events. I've now got on the calendar on my website. The astrology class for the new year is deepening your evolutionary astrology practice. It's kind of a mentorship group, taking us beyond the different subjects we've been working on, like relationship astrology or cycles or the essentials of evolutionary astrology. This will be a class where we can just work on questions and charts, and you can become more involved in analyzing the charts together. And then the intuitive Saturdays class is going to be on Sundays next year for the beginning of the year. And that is Intuitive Life Essential Skills for a Changing World. I'm going to focus what we're working on in developing intuition on balance and harmony and stress reduction and, being part of the huge Uranian plutonic changes that we're in at this point in time. So those are coming up, and let's go look at charts.